I'm Basic Becca, and you're listening to the 3 Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, and like I said, I'm here to lead you on your expedition of this journey that you're going on. So, this is Now Entering, which means one thing: we have a special guest for you. She is the most professional of professional wrestlers because she beat me on the show by 30 minutes. She had no idea, and neither did I. It was awesome. Well, give it up for Dahlia.
What is up, Red Dog?
What's up? What's up?
My professionalism is just, I love being early.
Impeccable. It's like you knew, you just like, you know what? I don't even care what he said. We showing up right now.
I'm gonna be here 2 hours early waiting on you. Get my ring light set up. And where are you, bro? Where are you, Red Dog?
I was in the shower. I'm not gonna front. Like, I went to the gym and then took a shower and loaded up, and I was like, oh, she's already here. Like, hey.
That's awesome. Me too. But then, a little hour or two ahead of you. Wonder why.
Don't worry.
Time zone differences, no big deal. We didn't think that ahead.
No, we didn't. We really didn't think about it. So first question I really want to ask is, who is Dahlia?
All right. So I came up with this really, really cool original gimmick. Allie, how original can you be in wrestling without like picking a little bit from other people? But 2011, I'm aging myself. 2011, I decided to get involved with professional wrestling, and I was like, I don't want a porn star name. I don't want a stripper's name. I want a gimmick. And that's when I came up with the Black Dahlia. It's one of the most sad, intriguing stories you could Google online, but be careful of Googling that. You will see it's a true story about Elizabeth Short, so you will see some graphic murder photos. But I think at the time in 11, I was the only one that came up with the Black Dahlia gimmick, and I think maybe one other person since then has kind of wrestled under that name. But the Black Dahlia is my baby, and I am she, and she is me. And I just absolutely love my gimmick, the Black Dahlia. So Google it, but I warned you.
Yeah, be wary. I know all about the Dahlia story.
I was gonna ask you, sometimes I just am I don't mean to be presumptuous, but I just assume everyone knows of Elizabeth Short and everyone knows what happened to her. And then you'd be shocked. Not a lot of people know what happened to her. And I mean, it was from the 1947 when she was killed. So I guess that's really presumptuous of me to think everyone knows, but I mean, it's so into pop culture now with like American Horror Story, and then there's her own movies, and there's a band named after her, the Black Dahlia Murder. So I just assume everyone knows, but no, she, young, beautiful girl, got mysteriously murdered and sawed in half. Her titties were sliced, her face was sliced. Everyone thinks that's the Joker smile. It was the Black Dahlia smile. And I was like, this is so intriguing. And I was like, well, I'm an actress. Like, why not? I love horror films. So let's, this is my gimmick. I'm not going to be a Playboy bunny, rainbows and kitty cat. I wanted to be taken seriously. So I was like, let me be a murder victim.
Well, and you picked the best one, just like right off jump. Like, it's weird to say it like that because I remember reading about it, so I'm going to age myself. Like, back in 2001, I remember reading about it and learning more about it, especially with the movie The Man Who Can't Stop Smiling.
Okay.
Learning more about the intrigues of that, right? So one of my best friends, he actually, when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker, right? He put a photograph together, and he took the image from The Man Who Can't Stop Smiling and made it pop culture, more current.
Fascinating. That's so cool.
If you didn't know, because of that movie, that's the whole Black Dahlia incident. The smile was inspired by that movie.
Wow. And when did this movie come out?
It was a 1930s.
Damn, that's so insane. Yeah, dude, when her Elizabeth Short, God rest her soul, when her body was found, this woman literally thought she was so pale as a ghost. Like she thought she saw a mannequin doll, and it was literally how old was Elizabeth? Like 23 years old. She was a baby, and she was literally sawed in half and separated. And it's just like, oh, and you want to hear something more? Oh my God, I wish we weren't recording because now I want to expose myself. So when I was living in LA, I found the spot where her body was found. It's actually like a place to go to, but it's like, it's not a park anymore. It's a subdivision. So it's legit someone's house. So I had to be careful. And I literally just like laid in the spot where she was found, and I took photos. And I know that might be disrespectful, but I did it in a respectful manner, and it's on my Instagram. You'll have to go check it out. But I'm just like laying there and acting like I was her. Like, okay, so I'm weird. I'll end the interview. Bye.
You know what's crazy too is like, and you mentioned, right, like in pop culture, like that's something like you would think is like something big because you know like the Black Dahlia murders, like you've mentioned, and then also like in American Horror Story in season 1, we talked about the boy Dahlia, and then like that was the inspiration was the Black Dahlia murders. It's just it's crazy because you're right, like and to find someone who actually knows like about it, you're just like, what? Like, no, like that was a massive thing like in Hollywood. Like it shook the core of like everybody.
Yeah, it was in the news for a very long time. Like, and I can't remember what it took the next breaking news to get that out of the top story, but I just know that she was named, oh gosh, there's just so many details that I could go into, and it's just like my brain's going all over the place, and I don't want to take up too much of your time talking about her, but she literally, I guess what I want to point out is like in American Horror Story, she was one of the ghosts in season 1, trapped in the house, but they depicted her as like a whore, a slut, and she's like, there is I believe a quote from her that said she'll do anything to be famous, and I think people took that and ran with it. And then like the movies of her like is depicted as she was the type of person that would sleep her way in the business. So I feel like that was wrongly interpreted. And I feel like, oh, there's my puppy. Sorry, say hi. This is Winston.
Hey, Winston.
He's my baby. So Elizabeth, I like to think she was just a young, innocent little girl that got with the wrong crowd or just came across a serial killer. Like there's theories of who did it, but the reason it's so popular is because no one knows who did it. Like no one got convicted, no one went to jail for it like full time. There's a lot of people that confessed and I think got arrested, but no one actually came forward properly and got convicted. And I just think that's so fascinating about the mystery of what happened to the Black Dahlia. And I think that's what drew me to the story mostly, not only because before I got in the business, I was not a wrestling fan. I was not a wrestler or anything. I didn't know I was an actor. So when I got involved with the business, the reason I chose her story to portray in wrestling was because her and I had similarities. Like we were both young and both devastatingly gorgeous, obviously. And no, I'm fucking joking. I know I'm ugly. I am hideous. I promise. No, she?
You can't have that attitude in the ring. You can't have the attitude in the ring. You can't be like I'm ugly. No. That's not, that's not I'll pay compliments for it. You are one of our most attractive guests on the show. So please. Do not.
You're talking about Winston, my dog, right? You're talking about my puppy.
Top 2 dogs I've ever had on the show. Okay. Second
yeah. You hear that, baby? You're sexy. You're a sexy little booty. He's looking at me like, why are you sexualizing me?
You know what's crazy is we talk about it, right? Mena Savari, right? That's who played her in American Horror Story, right?
Oh yeah, beautiful actress, beautiful girl.
Yeah. American Pie. So if you guys don't know who Mena Savari is, American Pie, just the choir girl. If you guys ever get a chance, go check her out.
I've never watched American Pie. Okay, I exposed myself. Let's talk about Star Wars.
We get into Star Wars. But I just want to know, like, so like as you said, right? Like you're not a wrestling fan. You weren't a wrestling fan, but then you got into the business and you wanted to portray the story. But what brought you into wrestling, though?
Yeah, that's such okay. So good question. So basically, here I am. dedicated to theater literally from infancy. I was an infant playing baby Jesus at a local church. Like I literally was born and bred to be in theater, and I wanted to be an actor. And at the time, it was 2011, and I went to a local community college, wanted to get my associate's degree in art. I auditioned for the New York Film Academy. I got accepted in the New York Film Academy, and I was just like, yes, I'm going to be an actor. This is great. And then in the meantime, my parents were like, hey, be realistic, you know, have a side job. So they sent me to beauty college, and I was in Kentucky at the you had to go to beauty college Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You have to get hours in. And so I literally was juggling 2 colleges at once. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so here's how wrestling came in. I was there, and I'm like an 18-year-old baby. And there's this older woman there, 10 years to my senior. And she's like, hey, listen, I know you're an actor and you'd really enjoy, this side gig I have for you. It'll be great for your resume. And she's like, okay, so ballet. And I was just like, bitch, I don't want to park cars. Like, what? Rich people have their cars parked for money. I don't want to do that. How does that have to do with acting? Like, how I'm gonna go audition for a Broadway play, and here I've parked cars. Like, I did not get it. Like, I was just so ignorant. There's only so much I can accuse myself of being just like a young kid, but I literally was so ignorant. I was like, how am I going to be a ballet? And then she explained it to me that she's like, no. So professional wrestling. And I was like, oh, the people that like fake fight in their underwear. Like, I was so rude and uneducated at the time. And I eventually was like, okay, whatever. I understood what it was, and I researched like Macho Man with Miss Elizabeth. And one thing that people need to understand is when I do something, I do it, and I'm very OCD, ADHD. I get signed up to a podcast, and I wait with my ring light for an hour an hour early. I really submerge myself into what I'm doing. So when professional wrestling came, I ended up turning down my New York Film Academy spot, and I ended up staying and being a valet. So that's how I got involved with the business. Is this chick was the valet for local indie companies for like 10 years, and she was like a mom, older sister to me, and she was like really kind, and she educated me on the business, and I studied a lot of film, and I've been in the business for like 10 years now, and the majority of my career was balleting, and then the other half was training, and then the other half was being injured. So that's kind of like the first baby steps, getting involved with the business.
That's awesome, though. That's such a unique way to get in. Like someone just telling you, like, "Hey, why don't you be a valet?" And you're just like, "I don't drive cars."
It's like, listen, you want your car wrecked or something? I'm not trying to be a stereotype, but a bitch can't park.
Like, listen, there's 2 types of parking I do: into that car or on Broadway as I'm trying to collect $200 on Monopoly. Okay, that's the only way that we're parking anything.
Yeah. Me.
All right, so then, like, question for you, right? So we talked about, like, you've been in training, right? And so you've hit the ropes, you've taken your bumps. Do you have a favorite bump that you like to take? Everybody has one. Everybody.
No.
I'll be honest, okay? Me myself, right?
That.
I'll be honest. My favorite bump is a dojo bump. Like, oddly enough, like, I like getting choke slammed. It's weird. And mind you, that's the first time I've told anybody that. Like, on this podcast.
Just lay back and open up and like lay on the couch. Okay, so let me put on my glasses. Just tell me your deepest, darkest secrets.
I've watched all my friends who watch and train with me. They're like, I don't want to do that. That's like, because they watch me. I go up, and mind you, like, a boy got hops. Like, I'm not even gonna play. Like, I can jump, and so when I go up, like, I go up, and they watch me come back down. So just
okay. So are you a Shawn Michaels, as I call it, seller? Do you sell like Shawn Michaels? Do you float like a motherfucker when you go?
I try.
Me. Oh my god! Everyone made fun of me. My best friend Nathaniel. He goes by. He went by Nate Cross, but he goes by Evil Nate the urban legend. And he used to give me the hardest time. Sorry, my nose is running right now. It's like winter out there, and it was awful. You know, I was basically standing in the snow for an hour waiting for this podcast. No, joking.
You're supposed to stay indoors, not actually put snow.
I didn't get that memo. Like your DM said, "Hey, stand outside in the snow and wait."
You know what? I gotta go my secretary. I gotta fire that person.
You know, like, I mean, I did that, man. I did that. No, my nose is running. So when I was training out at Rikishi's, that was one of my trainers, which we can get into that, like my progression on how I went from an outside ring to Funaki's to Rikishi's. But when I was at Rikishi's, no one gave me a hard time on my training abilities but Nathaniel, because he's like, you defy gravity, like quite literally. Like you how do you float when you bump? And in my head, I was doing it right, and I technically was, but it's like I floated as I fell. Like I was like stiff as a board, and I was like, but you guys are supposed to like have your feet taken away from you, and apparently I just like floated down, and I don't know. That's the way he explains it to me, and I'm just like, well,
feather.
Yes, and you'll have to see it when I do it. I'll post about it, I'm sure, when I get back in the ring. When I'm medically cleared and I take my first bumps back in the ring, I'm sure I'm going to do that floating bump.
That's wild. That's wild. Like I would have to ask my friends now. Now I'm curious. I'm gonna ask my friends, like, do I float, or do I just like sink like a rock? Like, I'm just curious to hear what you guys have to say.
I'm sure I'm the only person that does that in the history of time, but I've never heard of people being like, well, what's your favorite style of a bump? But do you want to, like, I think you mentioned in DMs like the worst bump I ever took. Do you want to hear about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe the move was like an RKO or something, and I was a valet. I was not trained yet, motherfuckers, and I was just a little girl, and I'm barely 5'0". Anyway, so the setup was heel bad guy, me valet, good guy loses but hits his finisher on the valet. Like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I remember I'm gonna call him out right now. Sean Hernandez made me do this. You motherfucker. No, I love him. He was like, hey kid, have you ever taken a bump before? And I'm just like, probably like eating nachos, like, huh? What? It's like, have I taken a bump before? I take a bump every day, sir. It's like when someone like Sean Hernandez tells you to take a bump, you take a bump. You know, you don't question it. It's like, yeah, totally. I can take a bump. So the spot and setup was me to take a bump. And so when you take that finisher, what are you supposed to do? A front bump, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back bump.
Oh, no.
I did it like literally in front of like what 300 people, you know, like a typical like crowd. It wasn't a little crowd, and I mean, I sold like a motherfucker. I sold like Shawn Michaels, you know, I sold that bitch, but I literally took his thing, and they're like, okay, so just take a front bump. Yeah, take a front bump, sure. So the whole match, I'm like, take a front bump, take a front bump, take a front bump. And as soon as I get in there, boom, I took a back bump. And this is the thing. This is what's going to make me sound like a complete psycho if I don't already. I had broke ribs at the time. On my whole like left side, I had broke ribs. So not only did I roll in the ring willingly, untrained, but I took a back bump instead of a front bump, and I did it on broke ribs. So yeah, I'm a professional.
They always say like wrestlers like have that one thing that's like loose, right? Like they say
we're all crazy, of course.
Yeah, there's something always a little off on us that we like do crazy stuff like all the time.
Who gets in their underwear and fake fights? You know what I mean? Like, we're stunt workers. I mean, it is what it is, but we're in our panties out there. Like, what's wrong with us?
Yeah, I fight in pants. Like, I'm not gonna front. I fight in pants.
You tie in your okay. Well, I mean, maybe I should, because my butt cheeks, like, it goes from one thing to a G-string. I honestly probably should wrestle in pants to save the crowd's eyes.
I mean, it's a personal preference thing at that point. Like I have friends that wrestle in their shorts and they love it, and I'm just like, all right, that's
Yeah.
cool. I'm like,
Yeah,
what's the
totally.
dope, my dude?
Totally. Yeah, no, definitely. We're circus freaks. I mean, not it. You when you take a bump, like just speaking of that, like what's the first initiative? You want to catch yourself, and we don't catch ourselves. We're like, yeah, boom, like attack the mat, like Rikishi said, attack the mat, and during training, and I'm just like, okay, attack the mat, and I mean, you're gonna fuck yourself up if you try to catch yourself. So yeah, there of course are loose screws. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And we're professional stunt workers, and we're professional athletes, and we don't catch ourselves when we fall, and that's so poetic, but also, what the fuck's wrong with us?
Yeah, I had a one of my friends. He was learning how to back bump, and he that's the one thing he did. He tried to reach back and try to catch himself, and he jammed his
Did he break his
elbow.
arm?
No, he jammed his elbow.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
He got lucky, but I was like,
who got
oh,
lucky,
bro.
dude? Like, when I was in training, there was a person practicing Samoan back whatever.
Yeah,
There's a technical
phone
name
drop.
for it. Yeah. And the guy that was taking it like kept on reaching his arm back like this to catch himself as he was going down. I'm like, bitch, don't do that. I am not ready to be that person that sees that bone. Ugh. I was like, please don't do that.
Or your
And
arm
I was a
bends, or the
witness. I
arm
wasn't
bends the other way. I've
He
seen
got that boy got lucky. I can't stomach that shit. There's a reason why I told my mom I wasn't going to be a nurse, and it's because I can't see shit like that. Like, I see it in my head, and that's enough, and I'm gonna like throw up.
So it's wild because you talk about how you train with Rikishi, right? So I'm just wondering, like, what kind of advice like has he given you or gave you that you wish that you could like pass on to like everybody else who's been like
Yeah.
in working
Okay.
with you or anything?
Yeah, Rikishi is probably one of the most humble people I've ever met. He's like so into family. And I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but because I'm a nobody, I don't expect everyone to know my story. But when I went and trained under him, I was homeless. And I was fortunate enough to be the good kind of homeless and have a vehicle, because it could have been a lot worse. But I mean, I was still exposed to the elements. And when I was training under him, I also worked night shift. And so that meant work all night, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., go work out at the gym, sleep in my vehicle during the day, and go and train at his dojo. But I think they call him the dome, the out there. But he knew, and he sat me down and was like, and I never asked for help. I never asked for a handout, and he respected that. And he's like, listen, kid, I trained under my uncles, and they forced him, but where he was homeless. And he said, I trained under my uncles, and they knew I was homeless, and I had to sleep out of my vehicle too, kid. And I did that for 2 years. And I was like, man, this like WWE Hall of Famer, this like probably a multi-millionaire, this legit dude was like in my shoes once, and his family knew about it. And I'm out here, I don't have family, friends in LA, I don't know anyone. And I was like, wow, that's so relatable. Like, he's so relatable, and it's like he rags to riches. And I mean, it's so humbling to have, like, I'm barely 5 foot here, I'm a little girl, and having this like monster Samoan like pull you to a side one-on-one and teach you how to attack mat, and just from the ground up, just to teach my basics. And definitely humbling, definitely shut the fuck up, become a sponge when you're around him. And I definitely think if you ever get an opportunity to meet him, whether it's in a locker room or to go out and train under him for a 2-day free trial at their school at Knoxboro, I definitely encourage people to do that, because nothing but positive vibes, like, with him, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome though. Like, just, and like you said, I mean, just right there, like in the little bits, right? Is just shut up and be a sponge. Like, learn.
Oh yeah, like that's just kind of like how wrestling is. And I mean, there's times like, okay, so I trained under him, but before I trained under Rikishi, I was with Funaki, and different people have different teaching. Like with wrestling, like unless you pick up bad indie habits, no one's ever wrong with what they do, and some person might not like how you sell this, but the other coach loves how you sell that, or you lock up sharp with Funaki and Rikishi's like, hey, lighten up or something. And like these are just like up in the air examples, but with different people have different preferences in wrestling, and I think there's no right or wrong way to wrestle, but then also it's very intriguing going from coach to coach and seeing the different methods they have and their teaching wise and the technical way to wrestle. And I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah. No, it makes
I
sense.
rambled there. No. Shut me up.
No. Because first of all, like this is like all focused about you. And then secondly, like you make like such a great point about like everybody has a different flavor of how they like to do things, right? So like not everybody's gonna be like, yo, I love vanilla ice cream. Some people like chocolate, some people like strawberry, but well,
if you don't like chocolate ice cream, I think you're like satanic. So
you see, there you go. That's a personal preference. Like, but
but is it though?
Yeah. I don't know. But you know, but
what is that meme? What is that meme with the child? It's like chalky milk. It's like, bitch, I'm lactose intolerant, but I'll have some chalky milk.
I think, and what you make a great point though, is that at the end of the day, like we all love wrestling, right?
Yeah.
We all have different flavors of it and just how we want to work, and even coaches are all different.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about people like Al Snow, how they'll teach one way, and I'll hear about another person like Cheeseburger from Ring of Honor. He'll train another way, and then you'll hear stuff about. So it's cool to hear like all different stories, and like, you know, everybody, like some people, like you said, right? Funaki would be like, be intense, and then Rikishi's just like, lighten up, and you're like,
yeah. And then there's, I mean, with my best friend Nathaniel, Evil Nate, he trained under both as well with me, but before that he trained under Rip Rogers. And if anyone knows Rip Rogers, you know Rip Rogers, like every other word's a cuss word. He's like, cocksucker, bitch, blah, 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 blah. Take the bump, this bitch, suck my dick, bitch. I just remember him vaguely from 2012 when I was around him. And he's a great guy, but some people might get offended by that, and like some people might cry. Like you might make someone cry, and then they're like, oh, I want someone to be more gentle with me. And it's like everyone's different. And you said you were training, right? Like you just got in the business within a year. Like who's training you?
So Sick and Taylor, actually, out of over here in Baltimore, Maryland, is where I'm training.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I've been with him for it's a year now, actually, since January of last year. And what
a way to get in the business right before COVID, bro.
Right, yo, that's what I was gonna say, right? So like COVID, like, so it started in January, and I remember texting him in November of like 2019, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna come up in January, I'm gonna start training with you, right? Because at the time, like, there's some story, like, I ain't gonna front, we all came, you know, some of us came from the backyard scene, and I was in the middle of something, and I was like, yo, as soon as I get done with all this,
bitch.
I know.
I'm joking.
How dare you do that? But yeah, so
I thought this was a professional interview.
Oh, that went out the window right when we said go. But so I was like, yo, I got some stuff I gotta tie up, and then I'm gonna be free up. So that's exactly what happened. Like things freed up, and the first week of January, my daughter and I, we showed up to his property, and we started talking, got in the ring, started bumping. And I remember there was like 10 of us, right? Like just starting. And the next week I show up, and there's like 31 kids, including myself. And I'm the oldest one, clearly by a long shot. And I was like, this is great. Like, this is like a legit thing, right? And then I show up the next week, 2 people.
Of course. Cream of the crop, you know? Like dude, just look at it like this. Like, a lot of us are, besides me apparently, but a lot of us get involved in business because we're marks and we're just fans. It's like, dude, yeah, I want to do that. And you know, like you're a little kid and your little what is it called, Ninja Turtles panties. You're sitting there drinking a little juicy juice and watching, you know, like at the time I'm sure it was the Attitude Era, and you're like, I want to do that. And then when you get an opportunity as an adult to do it, you take your first bump and it's like, whew, I forgot to, you know, exhale like they told me to, and I inhaled, and fuck, we're thinking the cosmos, and I'm like, do you really want to do that? And not everyone's cut out to do it because it isn't fake, you know, like you are a stunt worker, you are an athlete, you are slamming your body on wood and metal, like it's not a trampoline, and a lot of people are not cut out for it, and let the pussies go, man. You're one of the two that stayed.
Right. Well, and it was funny is like, so two showed up the next week, and then one of them was he's actually like he's a 7-footer. He's getting known all over the place.
Signed contract immediately. What the fuck,
But
man?
It was so crazy was he's actually my first guest on Now Entering Ring, so the first guest of the show. His name's Big Trouble Ben Bishop, and he's actually one of like the nicest dudes out there. But yeah, him and I were working together, and then like things just kind of took off, and then March happened, COVID comes, and everything gets shut down for 2 months, and I was like, what am I gonna do? I was like, how am I gonna learn?
Right. That's, dude, like, I mean, who could have predicted COVID, really? I mean, I believe in aliens and shit, and I believe zombies are going to happen, and I could have. I mean, like, it could happen, but I just, you hear about these, like, small businesses, like, people save their fucking money, and you want to know, like, this is me. This is what would have happened to me if I had money. Like, you hear about these people like saving up their life savings. They're like, I'm going to open that barber shop. I'm going to open this business. And they opened it like March 2020. And it's like, oh, dude, like, that's like my luck. You know, like I pack up one suitcase. I go to LA. I sacrifice everything I ever have. I sleep out of the vehicle during the daytime to become a professional wrestler. I choose not to wrestle shows for the school. Like, I personally was like, dude, I don't want to work shows. I'll help you set up for a show. I'm going to go work night shift and then at Walmart. And then when I come back the next day for training at like 10 a.m., I'll help tear down from the previous show and clean up. But I'm paying my dues. You know, I do everything by the book and pay my fucking dues, and I get injured before I could start taking bookings. So like, I get the Murphy Law thing. Like, if anything can happen, it will happen. I wrote that book.
Yeah, I won't even front. Like, me and I was getting ready. So once COVID happened, right, we started getting back in the ring like late May, and then I started running again. And I was at training every weekend. Like, I was in the ring, like bumping and learning how to do spots and learning how to just work a wrist lock and an arm lock, and then go into a hammer lock, go into a headlock, run ropes, right? So I'm still learning all these things. And my trainer was like, hey, we have this show coming up in West Virginia. I want you to be a part of it, and we're going to put you with some safe hands. Bet, right? So we're running and we're talking about it and stuff. 2 weeks before the show happens, right? We're doing rolls. I do a 3/4 roll, tear my lower abdomen.
No.
Yeah, out for 8 weeks.
So it like naturally fused back together. You didn't need surgery or anything?
I didn't have to have surgery. So I ended up having it was a minor tear, but it was significant enough that like I was out. But here's the crazy part. So I tear my lower abdomen, right? And I go to the ER, right? They thought I had a hernia. Come to find out, that's not what I end up having. But here's the craziest part, and this is what a lot of people don't know. I showed up to training the next day, and I didn't go train, but I sat there with a notebook and just took notes. And
oh my God, you are me! I swear, you're me. Okay, so when I was training out there, Rikishi, he has his jobs, so he's in and out from the school, and he was there that day, and I'm like, yeah, my coach is here. I'll show him what I got. No, I'm joking. I'm not that egotistical, I swear. I'm like, shit, I gotta go. I have diarrhea. I gotta go to the back. I gotta go to the bathroom. If anyone here's flushing, it's me. so no, seriously. So I tear both ligaments in the bottom of both my feet, and I end up rolling back in the ring, and then I like collapse on my body, and then I stand up. I was like, I got it, and I'm trying to still wrestle, and Rikishi had to stop me and physically tell me to get out of the ring, because he's like, there's a code in wrestling. It's either you're hurt, continue, injured, get out. And I was just like, I'm hurt. I think I like twisted my ankle. I had torn fucking ligaments, and I kept going, and he had to tell me to quit. Yeah. And I stayed out in LA for 2 months with torn ligaments. I worked night shift at Walmart. pulling heavy freight, pallets, stocking freight, unloading semi trucks, and I continued to work out at the gym, and I continued sleeping out of my vehicle, and I continued wrestling for 2 solid months before I was like, this isn't getting any better. This is not a sprain. Both my feet are like stumps.
Right.
There's something wrong, and I need help. And so I can relate totally, bro. And that's I feel like that's what puts us in the. You said there was 30 kids at school, and then the next day there's only 2. That's the difference between us and other people. And I think it's really, not to stroke my own cock here or anything, but I feel like it's really commendable for both of us, you know, like to continue with torn fucking muscles. I mean, it's like one of the most excruciating pains you can feel. So kudos to you, bro.
Yeah, and like I said, you know, I show up and I went back every week, and I just sat down with a notebook. Like, after this interview, I'll show you, because you know, can't be showing you guys secrets. Anyway, I sat back with a notebook, and wrote down, and just wrote and wrote and wrote. And then like my trainer is sitting right next to me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Yo, I'm writing down this drill." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "So when I get healed, I can start running this drill again." And he was
That's
just like,
so cool.
"What?" He's like, "Yo, that's crazy." And like he just watched me, and like, you know, I filled up this whole thing. So it's been wild. But then here's the crazy part. I have to go to a surgeon, right? Because they are like, we gotta make sure like you don't need surgery.
Yeah.
Surgeon, and I've never told this story on the air, so this will be the first time like people get to hear this too. This is kind of fun. So
Okay.
I go to the surgeon, and mind you, this practitioner walks in. He's like, "Hey, so what happened?" And I exactly how I told him, "Look, man, I was in a ring. I was doing a 3/4 roll. I was going over the shoulder, but I was going left knee, right shoulder instead of right knee, right shoulder. And I twisted, and I think they thought I have a hernia." And he's like, "What do you do again?" I was like, "I was in a ring, and this is what happened," right? He goes, "Oh, okay." So he goes to the other office. Mind you, like I'm in the office, like my door right here. That's where the other office is. I can.
Oh, so you can hear him. Oh my god.
Yeah. So this man walks in, and he's just like, I don't know. He said something about being in a ring, and he thought he heard something tear. I don't know what he's talking about. So the surgeon comes in, right? And he's like, "Hey, Mr. Cliff, like, how's it going?" Like, you know, "I'm the surgeon, blah, blah, blah." We start talking. He's like, "So what did you do again?" I was like, "Well, I was in a ring. I was rolling, and I exact same. I twisted kind of funny, and I think I tore something in my lower abdomen. You know, they thought it was they thought it was a hernia. I don't know what happened." So he goes, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I heard your guy over here try to describe the story to you," and I looked at the man. I was like, "No disrespect to you, but you fucking suck." I was like, "But I'm a pro wrestler, and I was training in a ring, and I rolled, and I thought I tore something in my abdomen." He goes, "You're a pro, like WWE?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh shit!" And then like next thing I know is we talk about the whole incident, right? And then he looked like, "Oh, it's just a tear." He's like, "You'll be fine. Just rest for the next 6 weeks. You'll be good." He's like, "You'll be great. Don't worry about it."
Did they do an MRI for you?
No, he legit was just like, he's like, you know, the crazy. He's like, "You're fine." He's like, "You have a couple other muscle tears." He's like, "So when you start doing crunches and stuff," he's like, "really contract on the sides, and that'll go away." And sure shit, he was right. And I did.
Cool.
So, but here's the crazy part. It's like I'm on Twitter, right? And I'm like tweeting out like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be back in the ring in 2 to 4 weeks. Everybody better watch out." All of a sudden, bing, my surgeon adds me on Twitter.
Oh, exposed.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh,
well,
okay,
actually, sir, I said 12 weeks.
but no, like I saw that he followed me, and I hit him back, and I was like, "Hey, you know, thanks for the follow." He's like, "I can't wait to see you in the ring." I was like, "Oh, he's a wrestling fan." I was like, "Oh, bet."
That's so positive, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you say? You're in the Northeast, like?
Yeah, Mid-Atlantic, so Maryland.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of wrestling fans up there. It's kind of like a part of the thing. Yeah. If I tell anyone I'm a professional wrestler, they look at me like I just said I slaughter babies and drink their blood or something. So, and I don't get a follow. I get a block on social media.
That's right. You know what? I'm sure everybody who's watching this interview now, they're gonna be like, I gotta find this chick.
She kills babies.
Yo, she drinks the blood of the innocent. I'm in with this. She loves the.
Oh my god,
I'm in.
If I get any creepy DMs, I'm blaming you.
It is what it is. You know what? I'll take full responsibilities for that. But it's crazy though, like to think like how like the game like the wrestling world, like how tight knit we are. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
like find like my ever since like I even changed my Facebook page. Like it just says like I'm a wrestler, and then next thing you know, it's like I was like my phone like legitimately as we're sitting here, like I can feel my phone vibrate, and it's like people like adding me like on Facebook.
And ladies and gentlemen, you see where he's sitting on his bed by vibrate. He means his phone.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's his little.
This is my casting couch. Okay, let's not
Your casting couch. Oh my god. There's like a cum stain in the corner.
Shh. We can't talk about that.
This is my casting couch too.
We have to keep it kayfabe.
Oh my god.
Like that's all like the big hard hitting questions like I have for you. This is like actually this has been like one of my favorite, most fun interviews that I've done in like in a little bit.
Don't gas me up, bro. He says this at the end of every interview.
Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. No one's gonna know because no one hears what happens afterwards. So listen, like I said, these are all like the big hard hitting questions I have, but we do have the best segment, and I did warn you about this before we started doing the podcast. This is time for the 3 Count Podcast 10 count questions. It works like this, right? I'm gonna fire off questions at you. Just whatever comes to your mind first, okay?
I hate you. Okay, I'm okay. Fine.
All right, so here we go. So we're gonna put it on an imaginary timer, right?
Oh my god.
And here we go. First question: name a movie franchise that you wish that you were in.
Star Wars.
Oh, bet. All right. With that being said, though, favorite Jedi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously.
Let's go. Yes, I'm in with this. All right. Who's your main character for Lord of the Rings?
Oh, good question. My boner radar would be Legolas, obviously, like, but probably Aragorn, like more on the fan base. Like if I'm gonna fuck someone, Legolas, but if I'm gonna, two different ones.
I get it. I met Orlando Bloom, nicest dude like I've ever met.
Oh my god!
Also,
Lucky.
He was completely smashed when I met him.
That's amazing. You're gonna have to tell me that story.
All right. Favorite candy.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna I have a lot of food allergies now that I'm in my 20s and life sucks with them. But do you remember those little, are they Altoids? Like you remember they were orange in a cylinder?
Yeah.
Like that shit was awesome. What the fuck happened to those? It was like my cocaine. I was like, oh, like as a kid, I couldn't get
yeah, I know what you're
couldn't get enough of that. I was a weird kid, and then like as a child, I would have also like, there was a little spray bottle about this big, and it would be like sour candy apple, and you just like spray it in your mouth.
Yeah.
And my mouth is watering right now thinking of that shit. Like I don't think they make that anymore.
No, whatever did happen. I remember those though. I thought
I was a boss bitch. I thought I was a boss bitch with a little purse in the early 2000s walking around, and I had my little Altoids, and I had my little spray bottle, my little lippy gloss. And I was like, I am the coolest girl in school right now.
I was a warhead guy. Like I just had warheads like all the time.
Oh, my mouth is salivating right now. I looks like I'm tasting the bitterness.
All right. So let me know, Pepsi or Coke?
I do not drink soda.
So neither. That's a great answer.
Neither. Sorry.
All right. Give me your favorite rock band.
Oh my god, I'm gonna do your basic bitch, Metallica.
That's a great band. Like
I like it all though, so I get judged.
All right, so it's Friday night. What are you doing?
Oh god, am I medically cleared? Wrestling. If I'm not medically cleared, it's just in the gym. And if I'm not doing that, maybe movie.
There you go.
Okay, all of the above.
All of the above. Let's go with that. All right, favorite podcast.
Definitely not this one. God, there's this like loser that's like interviewing me right now.
I'm gonna remember this. I can't wait. I'm gonna add all the stuff in the beginning. All the stuff you said don't put in. I'm putting it in now.
Dude, I was like, they're talking about finger banging assholes and shit.
I know. It is what it is. It is what it is. We won't tell them about the midget porn that you have going on.
Dude, my collection. Don't expose me.
Oh snap! All right.
Dude, this guy takes like he likes to shit himself. Don't add that, bro.
Yo, hey, you know what? Why you gotta expose a business like that? Okay, I didn't want nobody to
He
know
like
that.
takes laxatives for
It was just,
fun.
it was one time, and I was there. It was college, and I was drinking a lot. All right, and she said it would never pop up on the internet, and somehow it did. Go find out. So, nominate one person that you can't wait to see on this podcast.
Nate, evil Nate.
There we go. And then last but not least, and this is going to be the one I can't wait to see. My
Oh my
favorite
God.
question to ask every single person that comes on this show, favorite curse word.
Cocksucker.
There you go. So that's it. That's the 10 count question. See, you all worried. You were all stressing out right before we get into this.
Well, dude, you were talking about X-Men shit, and I'm like, don't expose me. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars.
And now I didn't, and you went ahead and just told everybody that you don't watch X-Men.
Hey, you guys know
Actually, that's not true because she did say that she's a fan of Magneto. So I'll put that in Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah, you can thank Lord of the Rings for that. Like I'm a basic bitch. What can I say?
But my final thing for you, Dahlia, is let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
You can find me everywhere, bitches. You can. I'm on Instagram. I just created a Twitter actually, so now I'm like one of the new kids. Yeah, just Black Dahlia. I like the year she died, 47. I'm morbid. Like if you didn't know that, that's where the 47 comes from. Like I'm such a freak.
I thought it was the 47 series hats. I didn't know.
Yeah, people are like, well, that's not 69. So what's the 47 exactly? It's just like nothing. It's not always sexual with me, guys. Jeez. It's actually the year she died. And then I can't get a boyfriend because of that, because they're like, block.
I don't. No, can't do with her. Can't do with her. But yeah, so like you said, Black Dahlia 47 on Twitter as well as Instagram. Is there anyone else that can find you?
Yeah, like I have an OnlyFans account if you guys want to subscribe. I'm under my gimmick name as well, like Dahlia Monroe on Facebook, but I think that's it. Like I don't know. Like that's all the social media platforms, right? I just created a TikTok, but I'm not like posting yet, so I'll come back on and advertise my TikTok.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. You guys, everybody can find me on there. It's crazy. But that is it. This is the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. And like I said, I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller. And you know, it is what it is. It's what I do. It's here. I'm leading you on your expedition. But this is Now Entering the Ring. And like I said, with our special guest, the Black Dahlia right here. So guys, you know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or just wait because the next episode is going to play like right after this one. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there, find us at the 3 Count _ pod, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3 Count pod. Give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com, give us a subscribe, turn the bell on, turn the notifications, leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm / the 3 Count Podcast, and in there, you can leave us a message, and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3 Count Podcast also has merchandise. At prowrestlingtees.com / the 3 Count Pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.